Good afternoon. Good afternoon and happy Monday. This is Vihil Vigil, women's empowerment coach, founder and creator of the Empowerment Empire, and your honored editor-in-chief of the Boss Latinas, the Anthology. I want to do a little bit of a quick intro to the project before I launch into what I would like to say today. So a couple of years ago, I got with a handful of women who were interested in sharing their stories. And what made this so profound to me was that I had participated in a couple of different book anthologies. And I think one of the reasons I really wanted to do the Boss Latinas anthology was because I wanted a book out there that really expressed who I was, who my peers were, who the women that I grew up with looked like, the lives that we experienced as some of the difficulties and the challenges and the struggles and the trials and tribulations of life, as I like to say. It's different for people of color. And as you know, for myself, I am Apache, Navajo, Choctaw, Cherokee, Spanish, and Yugoslavian. And I've always identified most closely with my Native American and my Spanish roots until I got older and learned more about being Croatian. I would say the resonating with my Latin culture was something that was very prominent with me growing up. All of my friends growing up in a small farming town that was about 90% Hispanic. I wanted to see women who identified as a Latina to really be placed in the forefront of the literary world when it comes to anthologies. I wanted us to be able to take this opportunity to share the stories that make us who we are. For so many of us, we have gone through a lot in life. Many of us have experienced various types of setbacks, from maybe being raised in poverty, from a sexual assault to battering to domestic violence, to always being silenced for our culture to tell us, let's not talk about these horrible things that happen because, we don't want to share that kind of stuff with the world. And the more that I advanced in my career as a business professional, and then ultimately to the creation of the Empowerment Empire, where our goal is to empower business women of diversity, to really work with women who have experienced trauma in their lives, to be able to create something bigger, something greater that allows them to move forward. I began to see that there were just so many of us who have experienced such severe trauma. And what that does to us when we bottle it and we bury it and we put it away is it slowly rots us from the inside. And that is no way to live. So granted, I will, highly recommend several years of therapy and getting great coaches and finding ways that work for you to get through those experiences, to be able to figure out who you are at the end of it. Once that fire has been extinguished, how do you rebuild your foundation? How do you rebuild who you are as a person? That's what I think is so profound in so many of these stories. I'm getting the chills. With so many of these stories, there's 31 of us that have shared our lives with you in the Boss Latinas anthology. These stories are from women willing to open the book, to open the locked doors to their lives, so that we can share with you not just the horrible things that we've gone through, but how we get through them, I think, is the most important. I always tell even my daughter, who's 9 years old, I always tell her, it's okay that you make a mistake, or it's okay that you are feeling sad after something has happened to you. What's most important is how you rebuild. It's how you get back up and how you figure out how to move forward. And it's about those that help you do that. So many of us have received amazing support as we rebuild our lives, as we find the next chapter in who we are going to be. These stories in the Boss Latinas anthology share those experiences, how we get back up, what we do, how we decide that I'm not going to be defined by what has happened to me. I'm going to be defined by how I build my life. I'm going to define for myself who I am and what I do and how I'm going to positively influence the world around me. As one of the authors in the Boss Latinas anthology, I had a hard time deciding what to leave in and what to take out, what to not take out, and what to not put in. Because it's hard to open your shell and say, this is me. This is what I've been through. This is how I think. This is what I've experienced. I think the honesty that goes into an anthology such as the Boss Latinas book is just awestruck. I'm awestruck by these phenomenally brave and powerful boss women who've decided it's time. It's time to open the closet and allow us to be free. I want to thank them. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for trusting me with these stories, for trusting me that I would help them to get their stories out front and center, to show the future Latinas of the world, to show, all of the women and girls of the world that yes, women of color, brown women in all sorts of shades are able to move up, to move forward, to build an amazing life for yourself, for your family, for your children. So many of us started our businesses out of necessity. Wasn't because we just had a huge pot of money and decided, oh, you know what, I'm going to sink it all into a business and do what I can to create this amazing organization. Most of us started our businesses because we had no other option. Not to mention, of course, a global pandemic when so many of us single parents could not go to the office and our children could not go to school, and we had to do something to support our families. And so many of us started online businesses. We started organizations that could reach out into the world through Zoom, through all sorts of various online platforms, through Facebook, and say, you know what, we can still move forward even if we can't hold hands in person, even if we can't shake hands in person and say, hi, how do you do? So this book, this groundbreaking anthology, this publication that we have all poured our hearts and souls into, I hope you take the opportunity to pick up your copies. Our next step is to, get a copy into as many women and children organizations as we can, as many schools as we can, because it's so important that young women and girls see a reflection of themselves in women who have done something different. Many of us in this book are entrepreneurs, we are business owners, we are parents, we are daughters. We can really relate to so many, and our stories, you can relate to so many of our stories. It was an honor and a great privilege to be able to have these women trust me with their stories and ensure, and I want to ensure that I do them justice by putting it out there, to telling everyone it is available on Amazon. Our next step is Barnes and Nobles. Look for us in the 2023 year as we are doing our coast to coast book signings. I think it's so important that we get to meet one another in person now that we can do so. And I'm so very excited to be able to do that with the women in the book and all of you who are sharing about our stories, who are sharing about the launch of the book, who support us and recognize the value of an anthology such as the Boss Latinas. And I want to thank you for that. Please take the moment to consider purchasing your copies of the book. We're asking everybody to buy 2 copies of the book, one for yourself and one to give away. Like our page on Facebook, the Boss Latinas, the Anthology, and share our stories with those that you love. Because I truly believe that through our collective collaboration, the mantra of the Empowerment Empire, we can absolutely make a positive difference in so many people's lives by sharing these stories, by sharing our desire for great positive lives and our willingness to put ourselves out there and to be vulnerable, to say, yes, bad things happen to good people, but you know what makes it different for some is the way that you get back up. Is the way that you continue to fight for a great life because you deserve it. Let's celebrate these 31 women in the Boss Latinas Anthology for being willing to share that vulnerability, for being willing to share their stories so that you, our audience, can be reminded. It is hard. The struggle can be very, very real, but you can do it. And here are 31 women who are willing to be of service, to give you advice, to share their experiences, to encourage you that you too can go for your dreams. You can make it happen. And I hope that you see this book as a great resource to empower you, to inspire you, to move forth with those things that you so desire. So with that, as editor-in-chief of Boss Latinas, the Anthology, as an international women's empowerment coach, as a business coach, as a mom, as a Latina woman, I want to thank you for your time, for your support, and for buying our book and helping us to get it out into the world. And with that, have a phenomenal day. And I look forward to being able to connect with you on a personal level. So please feel free to reach out, post your comments, share our stories, because without that sharing, our stories will stay quiet. And let's not do that.